The rain started before the wrong turn. It wasn't normal rain. At first, it was just a soft drizzle tapping against the windshield of the old white van, the kind of sound that makes long drives feel peaceful. But within minutes, the sky darkened unnaturally fast, like someone had dimmed the world. Lightning cracked across the horizon. And then the signal died. "Great!" muttered Samir, tightening his grip on the steering wheel. No GPS, no network. Perfect timing. In the passenger seat, Hira leaned forward, staring at her phone. It was working just 5 minutes ago. From the back seat, Danielle laughed nervously. "Relax. It's just rain. We're still on the highway." But they weren't. Samir slowed down. The road ahead no longer looked familiar. The reflective highway markers had disappeared. The smooth asphalt had turned rough, cracked, almost forgotten. "I don't remember this road," Samir said quietly. No one replied, because they didn't remember it either. 10 minutes earlier, everything had been normal. They were heading back to the city after a weekend trip. Music was playing. They were joking, tired, but relaxed. Then Samir saw it. A turn. A narrow road branching off the highway. There was no signboard, no markings, just a dark path disappearing into trees. "I think this is a shortcut," Samir had said. Hira frowned. "Are you sure?" "Yeah, GPS showed something like this." It didn't. But no one checked, and that was the mistake. Now, the road stretched endlessly ahead. The rain had intensified, pounding against the van like fists. "Turn back," Hira said suddenly. Samir nodded. Yeah, I'll turn around." But when he looked in the rearview mirror, the road behind them was gone. Not blocked, not hidden, gone. Replaced by thick, black forest pressing too close to the van. Danielle leaned forward. What is that?" "I don't know," Samir whispered. The trees weren't normal. They looked wrong, too tall, too still. And their branches seemed to bend inward. As if watching, a flicker of light appeared ahead. "Finally," Danielle said, "a house or something." As they got closer, the light revealed a wooden signboard. Samir slowed down. The sign was old, rotting, hanging crooked. The words were carved deep into the wood, filled the van. "Okay, not funny," Hira said. "Probably some villagers messing around," Samir replied, though his voice lacked confidence. They drove past it. But as they passed, the sign creaked, turning slowly on its own, as if following them. 20 minutes later, they saw it again. The same sign, same cracks, same warning, same words, same angle, same everything. No, Danielle said, shaking his head. "That's not possible." Samir stopped the van. Rain poured heavily around them. "We just passed this," Hira whispered. "No, we didn't," Samir insisted. "We did." They sat in silence. Then Danielle spoke. "Drive forward." Samir hesitated, but pressed the accelerator. The deeper they went, the stranger everything became. The rain suddenly stopped, not gradually, instantly, like someone had turned it off. The air became still, too still, no insects, no wind, nothing. And then a sound, a faint tapping from outside. Hira turned slowly toward the window. Tap, tap. Something was knocking from the outside. She leaned closer and saw it. A hand pressed flat against the glass, but it wasn't human. The fingers were too long, too thin, and the skin gray, like ash. Hira screamed. Samir slammed the accelerator. The van shot forward, and the hand disappeared. A few minutes later, they saw someone standing in the middle of the road. A man, or at least something shaped like one. He stood completely still. Head tilted slightly downward, clothes soaked, foxed hidden. "Should we stop?" Danielle asked. "No," Samir said immediately, but the van slowed down anyway, as if something was resisting, forcing it to slow. The figure lifted its head. Its face was wrong. The eyes were too dark, too empty, and its mouth stretched into an unnatural smile. "Turn the car!" Hira shouted. Samir tried, but the steering wheel wouldn't move. The figure stepped forward, slowly, deliberately. Then it spoke, not loudly, but the voice echoed inside the van, inside their heads. "You took the wrong turn. The engine died." Just like that. Everything went silent. The figure stood inches from the front of the van, then it vanished. Gone. No footsteps, no sound. Nothing. Samir tried to start the engine again. Nothing. "Do something," Danielle shouted. "I'm trying." Click, click, click. "Dead," Hira whispered. "We shouldn't have come here." Then they heard it. Whispers. Faint at first, then growing louder. From all directions, voices overlapping, crying, laughing, screaming, begging. All at once. "Make it stop!" Danielle covered his ears. Samir slammed the dashboard. The whispers suddenly stopped. Complete silence again. And then a new sound from inside the van, a slow breathing. But none of them were breathing that loudly. They looked at each other. Then slowly, all three turned toward the back seat, where no one was sitting before. Now, someone was. A girl. Pale still, wearing old, torn clothes. Her hair covered most of her face. She was sitting quietly, like she had always been there. Hira's voice trembled. Who are you?" The girl didn't respond, Samir whispered. "Get out! Get out of the car!" The girl slowly lifted her head. Her face was emotionless, but her eyes, black, completely black. Then she spoke. "You didn't stop." Silence. "What?" Danielle asked. "You saw me." Her voice cracked slightly. "You drove past." Hira shook her head. No, we didn't." "Yes." The girl leaned forward, her face inches away now. "You always do." The van suddenly roared back to life. Lights flickered. The girl vanished. Gone, Samir didn't wait. He slammed the accelerator and sped forward. But as they drove, the road ahead split into 3 paths, each one darker than the last. And in the rearview mirror, they saw something chasing them, not walking, not running, crawling, fast. Too fast, and getting closer.